Hello, loves. This is Lynn, Dream Girl Writer, coming to you today to relate an experience I just had, or a couple of experiences, I should say. I woke up this morning after a night where I didn't remember my dreams, which is rare for me. And I had kind of an inkling that there was something, but to me, it was better left unpursued because I had some real a real calling to clear some fears I've been having lately. I'm in a very tight money situation and I'm struggling to move through it and had been doing, I think, good work and proper work to address the fears and to embrace the shadow and to try and move through it, but it kind of like was resisting me, or at least I was resisting, I guess, the gift of it. And so I got up this morning and I thought, that's what I'm going to work on today. I'm going to really face that fear head on, that lack and limitation fear that I've carried with me all of my life throughout whatever I did, even when I had a good source of money and a good cash flow. And so I sat down. I made myself some coffee and sat down outside and looked at the trees and really just started to work on myself. And I talked to myself as if I were another person or a client or a loved one who needed some counsel. And I just kept talking, kept going within my body, kept um, making contact with um, my cells and where the fear was in my body and trying to embrace it and welcome it to show itself to me so that I could understand and so that I could receive the gift and move on. And it took about an hour, but I got to the point when I opened my eyes after all of that, that I was just so enveloped in grace. I was so centered and I was so at peace, more at peace than I had been in like the last week or two. And so I sat there for a few more minutes, just kind of basking in the glory of that feeling of knowing that the answer will come, that the fears have been acknowledged, and that the way out is going to be shown. And I just have to have patience and, be with it even more and keep clearing it as it comes up even more. So after this divine morning, I got up and went about getting ready for the day and then took my walk, which on this lovely grounds that I live in this beautiful property. It's really it's a condo community, but it's right on the lake. And although my condo is a little bit back from the lake, I'm just steps from it. And last night I went paddleboarding, and I get to watch sunsets all the time. And also, I have the orientation in this particular geographical. It's like a little peninsula that this property is on, and so I get to see the sun come up through the trees or over the lake. Sorry, um, on one side and see the sun go down when I walk down to the lake on the other side of the property. And so it's very resort like. I feel very, very fortunate to live here. Anyway, so I do take frequent walks, and on those walks, I do really attend to my inner wisdom, my inner self care, and also to pay attention to all the animals and the creatures and critters that appear to me on my walk. And so today I was just kind of lightly walking around, still feeling the presence of grace so wonderfully. And I talked to a neighbor. I saw a neighbor came up to me, and I've always had a bit of a not conflict, but I I want to keep him at bay whenever I see him because he's kind of grabby, and I feel like he wants to uh, own my energy or invade my energy, and so I just kind of polite, and we've had conversations, and it's gotten better over the um, weeks or months that I've let him in, and so I just I saw him, and so I was in my glorious open self, and so we start having a conversation, and that conversation leads to my writing, and then it leads to spirituality and religion. And suffice to say that eventually I realized that I had said too much because he was latching on to things that I said, and making a point of his beliefs versus my beliefs. And so finally, I just kind of cut him off. And, or actually, he was the one, because I was just trying to answer him as honestly as I could, but could see that we had basic disagreements about religion and spirituality. And then he got to the point where he got a little huffy and said something kind of like a put down to me and kind of walked away. And so I walked away too. But then I thought, I went back. He was on his way back to his home. And I said, look, Dean, you opened that door. You are the one that wanted to talk about these matters. And I was being honest with you. And because we disagreed about the way we saw things, you um, stopped the conversation and you put me down. That comment that you made put me down. And he said, I'm so sorry. He said, I understand. He said, thank you for calling me on that, because I would have gone in my house and thought about it and felt bad when I realized that I had done that. He said, I get it. And in all humility, I apologize. And I said, thank you. Thank you for that. And he said, in addition to apologizing, I understand where you're coming from. And that's, thank you for that. He told me, thank you, that I gave him more understanding of how he behaved. How wonderful is that? And my nervous system was all like indignant. But all it took was that extra step for us to try and reconnect with each other and try and give each other understanding and more grace and more love. He's never going to be one of my favorite people. I'm probably always going to try to keep a wide berth around him personally, but he's a brother. He's a brother in this life. He's on this path with me. And it was so empowering and revealing. It was like a little social revelation there for both of us. And I love that. I love that we can do that. And I love that we can stay in love while we do it. So that's my message to you today. Do your best to stay in love and bring as much grace as you can into any situation. Thank you for listening.